Hi, I'm Ainsley from A Mama with Trauma. Thank you for stopping by on my page today. If you would like to subscribe, that'd be awesome, or like it, I would appreciate that. Today on this episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about fear and how I have used it as a tool to better my life instead of running away from it. Yeah. This page is, every single time I get on this page and whenever I say things, I am not saying anything out of malice or hatred or seeking vengeance or harm on any of those who have caused me harm or abuse or anything like that. It's simply my page and just experiences that I've gone through and perspectives and knowledge that I have learned. So yeah. Ooh. Fear. It is really powerful. It really, I've noticed, has dictated many decisions that I have made or situations where I have shied away from, like moving towards something. I have felt fear, and once I've felt that fear, I've stopped. I've stopped immediately and just retracted and stepped away from that. And the thing I am learning during this season of my life is that I was wrong in thinking that fear was an emotion to be afraid of itself. Like, to fear meant for me to be afraid of something. And I've recognized that kind of message going on in my mind and in my body is actually not very accurate. I recognize now fear, or that surging of tightness and just uncomfortableness or hesitation or alarm bells going off for me, and what my life has led me to is that that's simply just an indicator that I'm moving in the right direction, and that the direction that I'm moving in is very right. It's very right. And the only reason I'm getting these responses of like fear or scariness or don't go that way is because my parts, or the parts that I've been traumatized with, are trying to like grab onto me and pull me back and prevent me from moving forward, because that those parts wants to like keep me safe and control me, not so much control, but keep me in a protective state, and ultimately like just safe, like, I got you, I'm gonna keep you safe. And so I recognize that it's more of a risk that I'm operating in when I make these decisions and move in a specific direction, that I'm taking a risk and a chance, and it's my I guess protective parts, or maybe parts that haven't really grown that much or have been protecting me for a really long time. And this is all due from trauma, that they're just trying to like hold, no, stop, like kind of grab onto me and say, don't go down that. We don't know what's good. That part of me is like, we don't know how that outcome's gonna be. What, we're not gonna go down that way. So I think once I have started like listening to that and hearing that and recognizing that I can calm and soothe and have a conversation with the parts that are very feel unstable and insecure, and then I can still move forward in the risk, or I guess what a lot of people say, the fear. And there have been two things that I've been, like, my intuition has told me I need to do these two things. And every single time I think about doing them, the surge of protectiveness or fear, like, no, we're not going to do that because we don't know the outcome, really, like, it really surges up. So, unfortunately, those two parts are kind of like at war with one another. Like, this part's like saying, you need to move forward, you need to go forward in this, and this is great for you and your present self, and then this is where you want to move forward. And then, like, the trauma part, the parts that have protected me for a really long time and are so used to trying to keep me safe, are like, no, we're going to prevent that from happening. And it's been interesting to see how strong these poles are, and also how completely opposite. I mean, those are very opposite decisions and choices, and kind of making my head spin a little bit. Like, how do you choose the right thing? Like, I want to go and do this risk thing, but it doesn't, like, my body isn't even allowing me to connect to make those decisions to move forward. And this other part is so strongly adamant about keeping me safe that they've got me on lockdown. They've literally got hold of me. And I also recognize that I have, for me, most of the time when situations like that come up, and especially in this, where I know I have these two things that I need to do, I've had to just sit in the middle, just sit in the middle of not really doing anything, and so, like, believing, but also, like, believing, and maybe in my stomach, like, in my gut, just, like, knowing, like, all three of these being on the same page. And it's been difficult. It has been difficult to come to the realization that I'm not so much difficult. I know I'm not as aligned as I want to be, but just seeing the stark obviousness of the lack of alignment, and not really being able to move forward until there's some peace, until there's some rest, until there's some almost like understanding for both parts that are very valid in what they want to do, and come to an agreement that rests well in my body and in my mind and in my emotions. And it takes a lot of reflecting and a lot of work, and to have a safe space as well to be able to do that. And I'm hoping to make these decisions and operate in a way that's honoring of myself, instead of thinking that I have to sacrifice something, because through this time and this work, I reckon I don't have to sacrifice anything. I just have to be able to step back enough to let maybe an unpopular or a very unique approach to how to handle myself arises, like comes up, and the only way that's really going to happen is if I just kind of sit and be still and listen and wait. And hopefully I can come back in a day or two with a response to what I decided to do, or how I reacted, or what came of this waiting. But yes, I am Ainsley from A Mama with Trauma, and I appreciate you coming to my page, and I will see you guys later.